we're living in this time where like even the normal rules don't apply
Let me
anymore.
get people who deserve due process are losing due process. You and me are going to lose our due process if we allow other people's due process to be taken away. This country was born out of the desire for liberty. It was born because we did not want to be ruled by a king. We are a country of laws, and due process of the law for individuals, whether they be citizens or not. Due process is
Due process is for everybody.
who is standing on American ground, right?
Person.
If anybody loses due process in America, everybody loses due process in America.
Welcome to Uptown Voices. From Harlem to the Heights to the northern tip of Inwood, we're here to celebrate our people and together seek solutions for the difficult issues we're all confronting as neighbors. Regardless of what hood you represent, we share the same goal, creating the best community we can, somewhere to enjoy, where we can build our lives and raise our children. We want to thank 181 Cabrini, located on the corner of 181st Street and Cabrini Boulevard, for its generous support for this podcast.
What up, everyone? It's Led Black. Welcome to another episode of Uptown Voices, another Black and Blanco. Octavio, my brother, what's up?
Sir,
It's December. December's here.
A December to remember. Christmas in the hood.
For real. Yeah. But man, a lot of stuff going on, so let's get right into it. Yesterday I was part of a really awesome event at Word Up on 165th in Amsterdam. It was for, I don't have the book with me, I actually left it in the car. But it's for the book. It's called When the City Stopped. It's edited by my friend Robert Snyder, who's actually, I didn't know this, he's the official Manhattan Borough historian.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's the official, because I always say he's the official Washington Heights historian because of his first book was with the book he had earlier, Crossing Broadway.
Yeah. I've got it back here somewhere.
Have a blurb.
I've got it back here.
I have a blurb at the beginning. Yeah.
Everybody who's
interested.
Everybody who's interested in Washington Heights and wants to know like the history of this place, and not just the history, but also the now. That's a really good book, and Crossing Broadway has some really significant meaning to it, right, Led?
Yeah, for sure, man. I wrote the blurb. I got a blurb in it, and I'm also in the book. But again, the new book, When the City Stopped, it's edited by him, and it's really an important book, right? Because it's a testament to the struggle that people went through in the pandemic, what New Yorkers went through, but it's told in a very interesting way. Instead of him writing it, it's like an anthology of like first responders, the wives of MTA workers that lost their lives during the pandemic.
That's very cool.
And then there's poems and stories, what they would do with people that didn't, for example, were not writers per se. They would send someone there and they would take down your information, what you talked about, and what you went through. I actually was very lucky because I think I've said this before. In the past, during the pandemic, I used to have a weekly column. That column was basically just a rundown of what was happening uptown. And what I decided to do in like kind of as an homage, let's say, to Love in the Time of Cholera, I did Love in Time of Corona. And it was just a weekly breakdown of my experience during the pandemic, experienced the pandemic in Washington Heights, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And two of those essays made the book. So it was great. So it was me, Robert Snyder, and then Coach Dave Crenshaw, who is part of the Uptown Team Dreamers, who, is a longtime community activist, organizer, and, he has such deep roots in the community.
He's on our list of people to get on the show.
Yes. We have to have him on the show for sure. And he's like one of those real life superheroes, right?
Yeah.
And he was always that. But during the pandemic, when the pandemic came, instead of like succumbing, he did what he had to do. He went and got people fed. You know what I mean? He got people fed. He got them. He brought food to their outdoors, like to their doors, up buildings without elevators. To make sure that the elderly and the most vulnerable among us were eating. You know what I mean? And what was amazing about yesterday, that event, at one point there was one of those women was there, and she said, "Listen, I came here just to tell Dave that you did this for me. You know what I mean? Like you personally during the pandemic, so I had to come." She hadn't even really known the book. There were people there just because they know Dave and what he means to the community. So it was a beautiful event. a good turnout, which is interesting. Gail Brewer was there. She
Nice. I
stopped
love
by.
Gail Brewer.
W-
She's
Yeah, which is really
such a
cool.
great person.
Yeah, yeah. So which was really cool, and she's also the one that made Robert Snyder the official Manhattan Borough historian, which is an amazing distinction. So it was really cool. And then afterwards, it was a great event. I think I did a good job moderating because I like to talk. You know what I mean?
I'm sure you
Robert is
did
so
great.
smart. Yeah, yeah. No, I know I did because I like to talk, and it's like I'm with these brilliant, awesome people. When it was my community, so it was a great conversation. And afterwards, Gail told me, she did. I did a great job, and I actually signed her book. She asked me to sign her book alongside of, Robert and
Oh,
Dave, which is dope. I
nice.
never signed a book before, so that was kind of nice to sign a book to her, especially. But it was a really nice event. Liz Ritter was there. My brother Juan Ignacio Rosa came through.
Oh,
It
man.
was a really nice event, man. Yeah, so I was really, and then afterwards I went to 181 Cabrini, and Daryl, who's the homie who's been around for Noma. He's the bartender there, and we had a good
Oh,
time
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The wife came out.
Yeah, man.
Those sangrias were hitting. Had a great time.
I'm sorry that I missed that event. I really wanted to go. Unfortunately, I was out in New Jersey at a funeral for a former
Oh,
colleague
sorry
of
to hear
mine.
that.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
sorry to hear
really
that.
sad. It was a former colleague of mine at CNN. He was a photojournalist, Felix Fermain, Puerto Rican, one of the few, especially back in the day in '98 in the early 2000s, photojournalist at CNN in New York City. And he was like a larger than life and I didn't have like the closest relationship with him, but he made a real impact on me as a very, very young journalist, just starting my journey, just learning things. And so I really couldn't let this day pass without me
Makes sense.
paying my respects. And it was also, as sad as it was also a really great opportunity to reconnect with a lot of former CNNers who were there paying their respects, which was really, really great. Some people who I stay in touch with, and some people who I don't stay in touch with. Like, I learned one thing. One of my former colleagues is SZA's dad, and he was at the event. So that was like one
That's
of the
SZA. That's wild.
SZA, I know. So
Yeah.
that was one of the things that was like, wow, I can't believe it. But it was a very, very nice event. But that's where we were yesterday, and we took public transportation out there, so it was a little bit of a challenge getting out there. But on the way back, we got a ride back into the city. But yeah, by the time we got back, it was too late, and that we missed that event. But it makes me think about the importance of community.
I want to say, make sure you pick up the book When the City Stopped.
Yes.
Make sure, to the audience, make sure you pick it up, and also make sure you subscribe. I'm sorry.
No,
Continue.
no, go. No, that's good. Pick When the City Stopped. I'm guessing it's available everywhere books are sold. It's yeah, Robert Snyder is a great writer and now editor of this anthology. So I'm gonna pick it up. I do like what he writes about, and I do remember those days. I could go on and on. I was actually during COVID, I was grappling with colon cancer. I was undergoing chemo, and so that time hits me for various reasons. I remember the pot bangings and the celebration for the essential workers. Yeah, and again, it's just like a reminder of the importance of our community, right? I had a lot of friends
Facts.
who were helping me out, and I remember when I was recovering here in the house, my friend Anthony Lopez and his family, he's born and raised here in Washington Heights, recently moved upstate, but they lived right around the corner, and we couldn't see each other, right? But they called me and they were like, "Hey, we're outside your window." And so we went to my window, and they were down on the sidewalk with the sign saying, "Get better, Octavio," and so that was like a really special moment
That's
from
beautiful.
a good friend of
That's
mine, and his
beautiful.
whole family was there, so we were able to make the social distancing work. So yeah, COVID is an incredibly difficult time for this city and this country and this world, because it was a global event. And we're here and we're still recovering. I mean, honestly, I don't think that we have recovered. I think a lot of the difficulties that our country is going through is due to the COVID pandemic. A lot of the opportunities for people being at home and open to receive all kinds of messaging was taken over by ne'er-do-wells, and I think that's part of what we're seeing now is some of that coming to life. But anyway, I wanted, before I go down that rabbit hole, I just wanted to say that being here in the Heights, it really makes me thankful for this community. One of those things that made me feel thankful for the community recently is that I recently joined the Washington Heights Chamber of Commerce, and they had their annual, which is, I guess, their second annual mixer for their holiday mixer and toy drive. It was on Thursday of this past week, and I went with my wife, Kathy. And, being an entrepreneur has its ups and downs. And that particular day on Thursday, I was feeling the down part pretty hard, and but I pushed through, and I decided I'm going to go to this party. I don't really know who's going to be there. I don't know anybody. I'm a very new member, and so I went. And Kathy went. She also pushed through. She works her butt off, so she's usually pretty tired in the afternoons. And we went, and we brought our little toys that we'd bought in advance for the kids, and that was a beautiful thing. And we got there and we started to mix and mingle. And one of the good things about these holiday mixers at places like the Chamber of Commerce is that there's no guilt should be felt if you're trying to like pitch yourself, promote yourself. It's all part of the game. Everybody is expecting that. So it was great liberating opportunity to say, hey, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm trying to do. What are you doing? Tell me about it. And so everybody that I met was super welcoming, super, super nice. It was this great mix of people, older people, younger people, newcomers, new business owners, established business owners. And it was fantastic. People from the Heights.
I missed it. I wish I would have made it.
It's okay, man. There'll be other events that they're going to be doing.
I'm good with all of them.
Yeah, it's great.
Those are my peoples.
And the people there were not just from Washington Heights. There was folks from Harlem. There was folks from Inwood. So it was like really a big group of people. And my wife actually won one of the raffles. So, we have
nice. What'd you get?
We got a bottle of Mexican rum. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do with that. Maybe
you don't drink.
Well, I'll tell you this. Well, here's my rule on whether or not Octavio drinks. So I don't drink most of the year. I don't drink. In December, on special occasions, I'll have a drink. Like New Year's, for example, nice. I'll have a drink. I don't go overboard, but I'll have champagne. I'll have some rum, maybe. We'll make a nice drink. I'll go to a bar with some friends and celebrate something important, and I'll have a couple of drinks. So just in December. And then come January, I'm like, you know what? Back to not drinking. Look, I've had a lot of fun in my life.
Valid.
I've had a lot of fun in my life. I've had plenty of drinks in my life. I'm not like anti-drinking. I just know that, like, for the most part, I'm good without it. But come December, I can.
I agree.
Yeah,
you're not like one of those annoying non-drinkers. Like, I don't drink, right? Why are you drinking that poison? Shut the fuck up.
Seriously,
you're not one of those people.
No. Let people have their fun. I'm not like that, and I can go and hang with people who are drinking. If it gets to the point where people are like really drinking, then I'll be like, peace out. But I'm not gonna like come down on folks. I'm good with that. But also, like I said, in December time, I'm like, people do dry January, I do wet December. So like that's
valid.
That's
super
me.
valid.
Wet December.
I agree. I think December's a time to, you've been working all year, it's a good time to spend time together with other people. And I'm glad you went to that party. I wish I would have gone.
Yeah, and I went, and when I left, I got to tell everybody, when I left, I felt just complete 180-degree turn of like my feelings. I wasn't feeling down anymore. I was feeling excited, and I was feeling inspired by everybody that I met. It was, I don't know if you remember, Thursday night was like when it turned really, really brick outside, and me and my wife walked home from the places of the place where it was held is a really interesting little event space on Broadway, right across the street from Locksmith. You might have walked by it a million times. It's hard to see. It might be even new. I don't know.
Across the street from Locksmith?
Across the street from Locksmith, right next door.
By the liquor store?
Right by the liquor store, like literally right next door to the pottery studio that's there now. It might be new, but it's a little tiny, well, not tiny. It was a good sized, not huge, but a good event space. Like I think like if we ever have
Where Buddha Beer Bar
a
was?
little bit, yeah, like essentially right there, but not in the exact location. But yeah, on
Not the
that,
same space.
yeah, but like, you know, just next to the locksmith, next to the across the street from the locksmith, next to the ferreteria, next to the clay studio, pottery studio. It's a little event space. I think it's called Sin's event space. And you know, they've got a little area where they have a bar, and it's really, you know, for anybody looking for a moderately sized event space, it's a really good spot. So, you know, maybe if we ever have an event, we might want to like think about doing it there. But yeah, we walked down Cabrini. I don't know if you remember, if you know, Cabrini is like super windy, and it was super cold, and I think I almost froze my ears off, because like I was good everywhere except for my ears. But have you walked down Cabrini lately? They just installed like trees all up
Really?
the avenue, all up the boulevard, Cabrini Boulevard. It's got new trees all the way up from 181st all the way to 187. There's must be like, I don't know, 20, 30 new trees that were just
Feels
planted.
racist.
It's what? Can't you just be happy for the new trees?
But look where they put it. Like, why are we? They only like why? Look where they put
No.
it. 181st, where
Yeah.
to 187, which is a castle village. Like, hey,
But that's not
here's
just
more riches for you.
That's not the only place they put it. There's new trees on Pinehurst. They put two there on Pinehurst and 179th Street. There's two new tree spots there. Fort Washington is getting new trees, and I don't know if west of Broadway there's new trees too, but I think it's like a whole initiative. Like they're putting on like gazillion new trees all over the city. So we'll see. We'll have to take a walk west of Broadway and see if any of that's happening on that side. Because
I mean, east of Broadway.
I'm sorry, I meant east of Broadway. Yeah, west of Broadway,
Yeah,
it's happening already. East
It's
of Broadway, we got to go check it out. See if that's happening. But I do think it's an initiative citywide. So I don't see why that wouldn't. Anyway, it is somewhere that I walk, and it's nice to see those trees on Cabrini. But you know, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's like it hopefully is.
I'm really.
Hopefully,
you know, I'm just
hopefully
hoping.
it's gonna.
It's funny when they pick.
Yeah. No, you know what? That was in the back of my mind too. Like, but since I don't know, I was like, I don't know. That doesn't stop you.
That doesn't stop me at all. No way.
Oh, I wanted to say,
no way.
this week there's a bunch of interest. You know, we're in the middle of the holidays, so there's like all kinds of really cool stuff going on. Well, on Wednesday, this is not holiday related, but Led and I are going to be interviewing the artist Tom Sanford. And
Tom Sanford.
Yeah, and
Tom Sanford.
You might have
Uber Kunst on IG.
Yeah, Uber Kunst on IG, and you might have seen him during the Knicks games. He gets highlighted often because he's like one of the Knicks artists. He created.
He's a Knicks artist influencer.
Yes. Well,
I told him that he laughed so much.
I didn't know that. I mean, he created a Ewing sneaker, and I think that sort of put him on the map with the Knicks back in the day, and he's a Knicks fan, so he does all this.
Tom is a man,
but
Tom
he does a
so
lot of
dope.
art that's not Knicks related, and is really interesting. And he's one of our neighbors uptown, so we're gonna.
Yeah, I went to the studio years ago. He had done this like a series where he painted beers, right? And he asked people. Certain people, he just selected people that he asked them what their favorite beer was. So I was one of the ones selected. So I picked up. I didn't do the stereotypical Presidente, right? That's just too like on the nose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did I'll be the Purple Haze because I love New Orleans and I like that beer in New Orleans. So he did that. He did a picture of it, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
But he's a great artist.
Yeah, he's
amazing.
He's a
really
great artist.
Super talented.
Yeah, he had his artwork exhibited in the Noma Gallery. I think it might still be there. Actually,
He has a piece now.
kind of a
Yeah, he has
powerful
a piece
piece. Speaking about beer, obviously, as young people, everybody is, many of us have had our fun, and he has a piece that's pretty powerful about some of the
It's called The
things.
Last Slice.
The
It's called
last
The Last
slice.
Slice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
love his work. He's really
Yeah.
talented. So I'm looking forward to that conversation,
Yeah,
man.
it'll be good.
And what else is on the calendar?
Yeah,
Like what's happening around town?
So on Wednesday at 6, there's gonna be a holiday party at Noma.
That's right, Nomo.
That's right, Noma holiday party. They're going to be having their holiday party at 6 p.m. at the United Palace in their gallery space, and that should be a lot of fun. There's going to be music, there's going to be artwork, there's going to be libations and stuff like that. Then on Saturday,
But before you go, I think it's actually bigger than just the Noma holiday party, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think there's also a tie-in to the palace, is that right? Or no, it's not that day.
That's on the weekend. That's on the weekend on Sunday.
That's on the 10th.
Yeah,
the 10th, right?
On the I think it's the 14th is Sunday. Sunday is the 14th, and on Sunday the 14th, there's like a whole day of activities at United Palace.
Right, that's the holiday market.
That's
right, you're right.
the
That's
holiday market.
Noma's holiday market on the 14th, and then they're doing it that's correct.
So on the 14th, which is Sunday, you're gonna have your fill of things to do uptown. You're gonna have at United Palace in the Plaza de las Americas, right there, there's going to be the Noma Holiday Market, where you're going to be able to buy all kinds of things, whether it's calendars, anything, ornaments, all kinds of things that are like holiday themed. There's going to be music. There's going to be a DJ there spinning outside. And then at 4:30 p.m., there's going to be the tree lighting ceremony.
Nice.
And then something else in after that. But on the same day, not United Palace related, at Recirculation, which is the affiliate bookstore for Word Up, which is going to be the Uptown Books play, which is
right.
It's an interesting play, because it's not like there's going to be a stage where the actors are going to be in the play. You're going to be actually in the play, so it's an experiential play. You're going to be actually right next to the artist.
It's immersive.
It's immersive, exactly. And that's Saturday the 13th and Sunday the 14th.
Right.
So on Saturday there's
2 shows Saturday, right?
Yeah, two shows Saturday and then 1 show on Sunday. You can check out uptowncollective.com, because there's a lot of an Uptown Collective on Instagram. You check there to see, there's all these are posted up there, and you'll be able to see all these events and then many more from throughout the community of opportunities to participate. So Uptown Collective.
And by the way, we just had Adrian on in the last episode of this podcast, so you could go check out that conversation with that young brother. Like, he's doing, he does it all, so go support our art, you know what I mean? Because if we don't support our art, no one will.
And what's funny about that, since we published that episode, which I do encourage everybody to look, because this is, we highlight a lot of people who are established, but we're also highlighting a lot of people that are in the fight, that are trying to be more established. You should know about, and Adrian is one of these brothers who you should know about. And what's hilarious is that since we published that episode, I've run into him like 3 times, like just like walking
That's
around.
Funny.
Once was at the Chamber of Commerce holiday party, because he's on the board of the chamber, and then once was in the subway on Sunday as we were yesterday as we are coming back from the from the funeral. So we just ran into him. So I am seeing him everywhere. We're ubiquitous. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Go to our Instagram, Uptown Collective, or go to uptowncollective.com, and you should be able to see a lot of the events that are there. And by the way, I'll say it again, please subscribe to the podcast. We're doing great, but we could be doing better, and we'd love to have you as one of our subscribers. We don't want you to miss any of the episodes. We publish every Tuesday, so every Tuesday you should be seeing either a Black and Blanco episode, which is just me and Led chopping it up, talking about life, talking about Uptown, or every other week you will have one of these special interviews with somebody from our Uptown community, whether it's in Harlem, Inwood or Washington Heights who are making this community a better place. We have a lot of guests that we're going to be interviewing coming up. For example, we have coming up not just Tom Sanford, but we also have East Harlem Councilwoman Diana Ayala, who we're going to be interviewing soon, and who we should be publishing that interview very, very soon, either at the end of
Before
December.
I also have some more events.
Yeah,
You
let's
have
hear
more
'em.
events? I got some more events.
Yeah, let's hear my
Okay,
events.
no,
My events list. I mean, I'm sure there's more that I could dig up, but if you have some on hand, let me know. What do you
yeah,
got?
because I think it's actually a great use of this site, for things happening to just bring some more attention. So
Yeah.
one of the things that are really cool, there's a Grant Readiness 101 class taking place Thursday, December 11th. It's at the CUNY School of Public Health in Harlem. If you go to the West Harlem Development Corporation's IG, I post a lot of things there for them on stuff happening in West Harlem. But there's a lot of important opportunities happening there. There's also So Harlem is like a really important, I want to say almost like a fashion brand incubator in the heart of Harlem, and they're having like calling it Black Smokes Pop Shop. So it's basically like one of a kind fashion pieces. That's happening on December 18th. So I think that's going to be really cool. And then speaking of December 18th, I'm going to be part of the Maureen Sognano Comedy Night at the United Palace. I helped to bring that show to the United Palace. So it's going to be Gloria Mora and Sasha Mercy and a bunch of other great comedians at the United Palace in the foyer. Thursday, December 18th, we have doors open at 7:30. Show starts at 8 p.m. So I got to give that show a plug.
Yeah. That's gonna be great. She's hilarious. I like Sasha.
Both
Mercy.
of them are really hilarious.
they're both-
Yeah, Sasha Mercy and Glorilla, they're
Yeah.
really super funny, and it's a Dominican comedic talent incubator as well. It really helps to bring out new talent and nurture the talent that exists. So I'm lucky to be a part of that team just for the United Palace. So
Yeah, and there's so much talent uptown, Dominican talent, just all kinds of talent, and that's why we're here, because sometimes we don't get the opportunity to be highlighted by mainstream media or bigger media that's not necessarily focused in on what we're doing. There's so much that's happening. I think there's also I think every week there's like a music showcase at M&M Pizza, which is like a somewhat new pizza joint.
yeah.
And I want to bring the organizer for that onto the show, and
it's called Variety Live, and they've been doing it for a minute.
Variety
You know what I
Live.
mean? And that's my brother. I run into him all the time. We talk about it. I have not yet gone. I want to go at some point before the year's over,
Yeah.
or if not early next year. But like you said, it's people that do poetry, spoken word, rhyme. They might rap, they might sing, they might do comedy. So I'm really I got a show. We gotta have them on the show.
Yeah,
and
we do.
I'm gonna definitely have to go to the show. Show love to that brother, for real.
That's right. I want to go as well. So we maybe we can coordinate. We can Black and Blanco show up
sure.
at the same place at the same time, so people know that we're actually Black and Blanco are not just, we're not the same person.
yeah, for real. For real.
But that's
I got
pretty
some
much,
shit I want to say though.
Yeah,
I got some shit I want to say.
That's where I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah, I got some shit I want to say. I want to talk about, again, I
Well-
always talk about these, these Latinos that
Yeah.
just, don't get race. But now we're entering a different phase. Now what we have is Latino, active, coonery, active, Uncle Tom stuff, right? Where it's you're actively working against us, right? So I want to bring two people that come to mind, right? And I'm sorry, and this is not to all my Colombian, shout out to my Colombian people, love all of y'all, but two of y'all people need to be checked, right? And the first is Bernie Moreno, who's the congressman who's pushing the law trying to end dual citizenship,
Yeah.
right? Which
yeah.
is fucked up.
Yes.
Was fucked up. But before we get into that, the other one is Valentina Gomez, who is basically running. She didn't win in Oklahoma. Now she's trying to run in Texas, and she's talking about filthy Muslims.
Oh,
which is
that's
horrible.
her. That's her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's disgusting. She looks like a right wing Sofia Vergara, basically. You know what I'm saying? She's disgusting. She's just horrible human being. But let's go back to Bernie Moreno, how real that is, right? So now, first of all, he himself is a dual citizen, right? Because he wasn't born here, right? He's a naturalized American citizen. So that means he also has a Colombian citizenship, but he wants to do away with dual citizenship. And the law basically states, right, that once the law passes, right, because it's far from passing, right? Right now, it's just a disgusting notion that's being brought as a bill, which is horrible enough.
Is it a bill? Has it been presented already?
Yeah,
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, he presented the bill. Yeah, I don't think it's been reviewed or whatever, but it's been presented, right?
Okay.
And basically, it's been put forth, right? And basically says that if you have 1 year to make a choice, right? And if you don't make a choice, it will be made for you. You will lose your American citizenship.
Oh, what?
Yes, and everything that entails, right? So you think about that, like that you're stripping away citizenship. That we thought that was impossible, right? Like, I mean, it's like everything they said was is just the criminals. It's everybody, right? It's not the illegals, which you shouldn't be saying. It's everybody, right? So now, like, but think about that bill. So it's a Latino pushing a bill that's going to hurt Latinos. Like, this is the point that we have come to in America, right? Where your own people are the ones doing you in. And they are killing themselves to put themselves in front of white supremacy. Like, please take, I'm not one of them. You know, those people are like, it's just so gross. And that woman, Valentina Gomez, you know what I mean? Like, she's talking about filthy Muslims. She did a video just where like, they're going to rape your children. They're filthy. They're pedophiles and no illegals. And you're like, and the thing is, she has a fat accent. Like, her accent is so thick. Like, she really does remind me of like racist Sofia Vergara. Like, Jay, like, you remember how Sofia used to go to Jay? That's what she comes off as, just like a loud, thick accented Latina talking anti-Latino shit and anti-Muslim shit. Like, it is so gross. And I'm really kind of disgusted with it. And you see it now, like, and I'll give you an example. Like, so now even in the Dominican Republic, right, you have like people that just have no scruples, no morals, using anything. So there's a mosque being built in Punta Cana, right? And now, like, local activists, right-wing activists in the country are organizing against the mosque being built. And, you know, and then they galvanize the dumbest people among them in the population. And, you know, and they're there protesting a religious, you know, building being built. You know what I mean? And like, it's so ugly. It's weird to me that the lack of solidarity, I just think it's a really disgusting phase. You know what I mean? We do live in a time of monsters now.
It's got my blood boiling. And yes, I had seen the bill and I had read up on it a little bit. And yes, I had seen the disgusting tirade by that politician in Texas. And it's just a disgusting example of racism in America. Racism being perpetrated by our own Latino brothers and sisters. And I hate to include them in the family, but they are. You know, there are brothers and sisters, but somehow they've been infected with the virus of racism and see an opportunity for themselves to be, I guess, risen into the good graces of MAGA. Why you'd want that, I don't know. MAGA doesn't want them there except for using them for their nefarious devices, such as this bill that you've just told us about, which is absolutely horrendous. You know, I think that dual citizenship is a benefit that Americans deserve, and that it's one of the reasons why people come to this country, and it's so important. And I should say, you know, that I myself am a dual citizen, and I had to fight to reclaim my Mexican citizenship because Mexico at a certain point had that same kind of rule where you had to, at the age of 18, you had to decide which did you want to be, either Mexican or whatever other citizenship that you held. At the time I was living in the United States, I chose my US citizenship. And at the time, I had to let go of my Mexican citizenship, but I didn't like having to do that. Being put into that choice didn't feel good because I feel like I'm both Mexican and American. And then later on, the law changed in Mexico, and they said, well, now you can have dual citizenship. And I think that's because so many Mexicans went abroad, came to the United States and other countries. And so I had to go to the Mexican consulate here in New York City and prove my citizenship and reclaim my Mexican citizenship, which I did so in 2016. And so currently I am a dual citizen, Mexico and the
Yeah.
United States. And my dad has a very interesting citizenship story. I've told it before. I'll tell it again. He was born in Mexico. His mother, though, was from New Mexico, and she had been illegally deported, essentially, from New Mexico to Mexico, and she died when my dad was 1 year old. So my dad grew up his whole life and was Mexican and didn't know that his mother was American until many, many years later. We moved to the United States and we connected with some long lost family who told him, hey, by the way, we've got your mom's birth certificate and she's from New Mexico. And so being that you were born of an American citizen, you have birthright citizenship with the United States. And so with her birth certificate, he went to the naturalization office and didn't get naturalized. He claimed
Oh, very
reclaimed his
interesting.
birthright citizenship and was granted his birthright citizenship. Yeah, this is just a disgusting turn of events. It's a hateful bill, and it's just another example of the way that the powers that be in this day and age, in MAGA, in the White House, are incentivizing and arming government against foreigners, people of color, immigrants, whether you be here undocumented or documented. They're trying to get us out. So
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is a further proof of that.
yeah. And I'm also a dual citizen, right, of the United States and Dominican Republic. My whole family, the whole household is, and thankfully, shout out to my wife, Eileen Fuentes, she
Yes.
she wrote she put together like a piece on social media, like kind of putting together like just the steps to become a dual citizenship just for Dominicans. Basically, it was a really Dominican Republic related, but it was one of those pieces that really worked the social media milieu. Like a lot, it really spread, and other people actually even started businesses kind of based off of it. A lot of people sometimes shared it with credit, without credit, but it happened same as you, 2016, because of Trump, right? My wife was like, "Listen, Trump is coming to power." You know what I mean? And we need to be ready. And of course, I agree with her, but she's like the make it happen, right? So she made sure we went through that paperwork. First we did, me and her, her and I, and then we did the kids, so we all have our dual citizenship. But it's really important, right? It's really important, and for that to be like even on the table, and the fact that it was put on the table by another Latino who's a dual citizenship, right? It's really like pick me shit, like, oh, I'm not, please, and like that's really foul,
It's
right?
disgusting.
And again, like my youngest daughter, right, Soraya, she said something. I was asking her like, what would you do, right? What would you do? Where you're gonna pick, DR or America? She was like, to be honest, if America is even asking me that, then I have to pick DR, right? If it's gotten to the point where that's a requirement, then why do I wouldn't even want to stay here, right? And I think, remigration is a theme that's coming up now, like the theme that comes out of Europe, and racist, right-wing circles in Europe. And now the president is retweeting it, talking about remigration. They want to get rid of all of us, right? But it's also a fantasy, right? We make this country run. So what you
Yeah.
gonna do? You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? Is you can't. There's nothing without us. And if you do decide to get rid of us, you would lose everything in the balance. And again, like I think we're headed. 2026 is going to be the year of living dangerously. 2026 is the year where all of the bad choices come to fruition,
Yeah.
right? 2026 is where ICE is going to get all the more of their funding, right? I saw a video today where they let a dog loose on a citizen who they were trying to apprehend, and the man got bit up by a Malinois, like a military grade dog. We're sicking dogs on people. You know what I mean? this is where we're at, and all the funds haven't come yet, and all the SNAP benefits cuts haven't come yet. Like 2026 is going to be a tough year for this country, and again, that's where community comes. We're going to have to really look out for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think through the pandemic, going back to when the city stopped and about the pandemic, I think what the pandemic showed me is how strong and resilient New Yorkers can be.
Yeah.
Right. That when push comes to shove, we out there for each other. And I'm very proud so far how the city has reacted against ICE.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you saw that when in Canal Street, we didn't let them come out of their little base.
Yeah, and when you say the city, I want to be clear: the citizens of this city, not the NYPD.
The citizens, yeah.
Not
no, the NYPD was helping them.
That's exactly
the
what
NYPD
that's what
was
I want.
Basically clearing us out of the way and throwing people on the ground. It was the NYPD doing that.
That is what I want to make clear because up to this point, the city of New York, meaning Mayor Adams and his police department, are not defending us, the citizens of New York, against this ICE incursion. So just wanted to clarify
it's
that
the people
because
themselves.
It's
no, you're 100%
of
right.
New York City.
The people of New York City, and you see it on social in Staten Island. I see tires getting slashed. Right, you're seeing in Queens people like looking out for people looking out for each other.
Led, I think now it's time to take a short pause so that we can pay some of the bills. We are lucky to have a great sponsor, 181 Cabrini. It's our neighborhood bistro. Both Led and I are just steps away from 181 Cabrini, and we love it. 181 Cabrini is located right there on that corner of 181 and Cabrini, just steps away.
181 and Cabrini.
Just steps away from the bridge. So, I love it. Led, you and I were there the other night.
Yeah, and we also met there for the first time. You and I, the first time we met, we had like lunch there, and it's my local bar now. Like since you and I both live like right around. It's my local bar. I spend a lot of time there. James Lee, the owner, is just an incredible restaurateur. Right, I think he's a great guy. He's super funny, but like the food is on point. So please hit up 181 Cabrini. It is really one of my favorite spots. 181 Cabrini, pull up. That's my spot. Show them love and tip well. And then, another thing I want to point out, though, that I think is very important, and again, I'm not trying to trigger you with your love of your AI gods, okay? I'm sorry, Octavio. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I don't mean the great AI imperial master.
Why are you putting me on blast like that? It's not that I love it.
I'm joking.
I don't love it. I'm just,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I do that to my wife too because I guess I know that it's very useful. I mean, my argument is the overall thing of it, right?
No, I agree.
What my point? But we live now in a world of AI slop.
Yes,
right?
we do.
It's AI everywhere, right? So what the reason I say that is because there was a video that was circulating maybe 2-3 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Where it was a cop, right? He's telling ICE agents
to get out.
Don't fucking bring this shit to Washington Heights. And that shit got on a lot of pages. I was gonna post it myself.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Until I dug a little deeper. It was AI.
Yep.
Right? It's AI. Like, so just that's another aspect, that blurs the lines in ways that we don't even understand right now.
Yeah.
And it's only getting more it's more ingenious.
Yeah, it's more ingenious, more prevalent.
It's more sophisticated. And what's weird about it too, which is I was telling, what's very interesting about AI, right? It's a reflection. And again, and I'm not for the tools to use, I'm saying, but AI in other ways, it's a very much a reflection of this country because there's a lot of racist AI slop.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really racist, like black people and brown people acting like animals, like gorillas. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. There's a lot of like really disgusting racism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just feel like we're entering this new phase of existence. And I think 2026 is the year where all the things that we never thought possible are possible.
Yeah.
I think America's going full Israel, meaning America's going to go on the attack everywhere.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it's just. I think Venezuela, like it's so wild that again, the beauty of social media in a way is that you get to interact with other people and other thoughts, right? And I'm seeing people like saying. Venezuelans, right? Saying, hey, look, I don't like Trump, some of them, but I don't like Maduro, right? And getting rid of Maduro is worth whatever.
Yes.
And again, I think naive thinking, right? Because that lady that won the Nobel Peace Prize,
Yeah, yeah.
she basically wants to give
Yeah,
Venezuelan oil to the highest bidder. She's just an
she's
instrument of
she's on
just
board.
giving
She's
everything
on
away.
board with this with whatever Trump wants to do to take over Venezuela. She's on board. And
Right.
politically on her from her point of view, I can understand, but I do agree with you in the broader scheme of things. Politically, giving him the keys to the city or the keys to the country is extremely naive.
It's extremely naive, right? And the thing is, again, and this is not pro Maduro,
Not
right?
pro
This is not
Maduro,
what I'm
not
saying.
pro Maduro.
But what I'm saying to you is that they are going to do what they did in the Middle East, right? Break it so they could take the resources and never let them have like a functioning, stable democracy.
Yeah.
Will always be fraught.
Which, to be
but that's what
fair,
they
it's
want.
what's been it's what the United States historically has been doing. And what's interesting is that in the last, well, I would say, I don't know if I want to go back a full decade, but at least in the last few years, the Latin American countries were starting to get their act together and starting to sort of like emerge from this like pseudo-colonialist period and starting to control some of their own economies. Some of their economies were becoming much, much better independently. And I think the United States, well, was like previous to that, was doing everything they could to like control Central and South America. There was a little bit of a distancing once they felt, I think, that they had exerted enough control. But now with the rise of Maduro and other leftists and the rise of Trump, who's on the right, you're seeing this like the old gears are starting to churn again to try to control
The Monroe is like a more muscular Monroe doctrine. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But the thing is that but right, if you go in for regime change in Venezuela, right? That's a ticking time bomb, right? You could throw that whole region into chaos.
And he's
right?
not, and Trump is not a big fan of Colombia's president either. So
Yep.
if Colombia's
He doesn't like
president
Petro
hangs,
either, yeah.
if he hangs on to the presidency, what's to say that Trump won't want to go against Colombia? Where, by the way, we already have a lot of American troops like embedded there. We could just flip the switch, and now they're like they could do whatever they want in Colombia. So I do,
and I think I think that the end goal too, because Marco Rubio is to get rid of the Cuban regime as well.
Yeah,
you know,
that's for
and
sure.
I think that's a long-term dream, and I think he would love to be the Cuban Gusano to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think he wants to do it. But you know, one thing I want to say too is I'm kind of really disgusted with the Dominican Republic's president Abinader, right? Because he had Pete last call for alcohol Hexef in the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had him in DR, and basically it was like, yeah, I'm down to attack another Latin American country. Yes, you could use my country for staging and to facilitate an attack on another Latin American country, right? Regardless of that Latin American country's left, right, whatever. Like that is a disgusting.
Money talks, man. Money talks,
but it's disgusting though, right? It's like,
absolutely.
I think Dominican Republic, you know, is Dominican Republic is an important emerging nation. You know, I think by the 2030s is no longer going to be considered like a developing nation, right? It has one of the best economies in Latin America.
Oh, okay. I want to know more about
really
that.
well.
Actually, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's doing really well. But this is a stain. Right, it's a stain on him. It's a stain on our country that we're gonna allow the United States to attack another country, like, and we're gonna facilitate that. We're gonna provide, you know, facilities. I'm totally, utterly disgusted by those actions.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that it's disgusting, but I gotta say it's that money. It's that money that talks, and unfortunately, right now, like you said, we're in a phase in our society, in our global society, but also in our local society about where do our what do we care, what is important to us, where do our where do we draw the line? You know, you could throw money at things and that helps in many ways, but at the same time At what cost? Are we so cynical, right, that we don't believe in human rights? Are we so cynical that we can't help each other out? And unfortunately, the Trump administration understands the power of money and the power of attention in the media and the power of all that. And so they leverage that very, very well. I mean, how else do you think that people like the ones we opened up talking about in Texas and the two Colombian lawmakers, you know, what could they be after? It's money and attention, and when they get that, that's power. uh so we're at a time now that we need to really draw the line and tell the world what's important. I think, like you said, 2026, everything's on the table. With the money that's going to flow into ICE, we're going to be really literally in a war zone in these communities, and we need to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
on alert.
yeah.
We need to
I
be
think
on
I
alert.
think what we can expect going forward from the actions we have just seen is a very muscular internal military solution for this regime, meaning local, this hemisphere, right? So Latin America is about to feel this, and also internally, is going to be felt. And I think we're headed for very turbulent times. And right now, people should really be up in arms that the regime is just killing people on boats off the coast of Latin America, right? Like they're just killing people, double tapping people, killing them on as they're trying to survive an attack without any knowing that they just we believe that they have drugs there, right? Which doesn't make sense but for a lot of reasons. But even if it were drugs, then you get on that boat and you take those drugs and you make those people face law. Like that's
Yeah.
what the law is.
Let me-
So what I'm saying is, like, we're living in this time where, like, even the normal rules
Well,
don't apply
let me
anymore.
get in here because this is super important what you're bringing up, and it's the issue. I don't like. I hate the fact that fentanyl comes into this country and that it's addicting our people and our people are addicted to it. I hate that. I hate the fact that people are making millions off of the suffering of everyday Americans. I hate that. But I also hate killing people without due process. I also hate deporting people without due process. I hate it because I know that it's not just drug dealers and undocumented people who deserve due process and who are losing due process, but you and me are going to lose our due process if we allow other people's due process to be taken away. This regime, the Trump administration, to willy-nilly decide who's a criminal, who deserves to live and who deserves to die, who deserves to live in this country and who has to be deported without facing due process, then this country is done. This country was born out of the desire for liberty. It was born because we did not want to be ruled by a king who can make rules and laws as if they were divine providence. We are a country of laws and due process of the law for individuals, whether they be citizens or not. Now, let's be clear. Due process is
Due process is for
everybody who
Everybody.
is standing on American ground, right?
For
That-
everybody.
For everybody.
Every
and
person.
if anybody loses due process in America, everybody loses due process in America. So guess what? We've already
Facts.
essentially lost due process in America because up to this point, there has been no repercussion. There has been no blowback. There is nothing. Now, like I said, I hate the fact that fentanyl is flowing into our shores, right? But let's look
But it
at
has
some.
nothing to do with that.
But
This
hold
has
on, hold
nothing
on,
to-
hold on,
yeah, it
hold
has
on.
nothing
Let
to
me
do with
just. Yeah,
fentanyl.
there's nothing to. You allow me to finish my thought, Led. It has nothing to do with fentanyl. Those boats couldn't even reach U.S. shores. Those boats might have been carrying drugs. They might have been fishermen. Those boats might have been carrying drugs to, like, Nicaragua or Honduras, which, by the way, President just pardoned a major drug trafficker who's been in jail
400 million tons or something
of
like that. Like,
cocaine, so exactly what is going on? It's definitely not what they're saying. It's something completely different. It is the constant erosion of our rights as people in the United States. I'm not even going to say Americans, although it is the erosion of rights for Americans, which, by the way, I thought that's what the Republican Party, stood for. They're always all up in arms about my individual rights and get out of, my individual rights and my right to bear arms and all that. But why? Why? Because ultimately they're not for that. They all want to bear arms because they know that we're all going to be fighting against each other. And that's what they hope. I hope that never occurs. But I think that that's what the end game is for them. They want to see this nation reimagined completely. And they
yeah, no,
don't
I agree.
care about destroying the rights that we have, and they don't care about destroying the humans that live here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're 100%. It's a revolution, right? We're in the midst of a right wing, all encompassing revolution, right? But what's worse is like these are the people that can't shoot straight, right? So it's like instead of like again, this is gonna sound crazy, but this is not the most effective way to create like a white supremacist state. Like you're going about it the wrong way because you're gonna impoverish that state and you're gonna bankrupt that state.
Don't tell
Yeah,
them.
but I'm saying we're taking the whole American experiment with it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really all falling apart. You know
Well,
what I mean? It's
my hope
ridiculous.
is that what's becoming clear is that the people at the top really have no idea what they're doing and are not intelligent. Hopefully,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope that that's going to
Right.
become clear, and that by their own inadequacy, the American people will wake up and say, this is not right. This is not what we want. But 2026 is the time where we need to not just wake up, but we need to speak up. We need to be
Yeah.
on, if we're most of our audience is here in New York, but
We're gonna be doing this show. We're gonna be doing this show live from Guantanamo.
Exactly.
Like, what up, Uptown Voices, Guantanamo Voices.
Guantanamo Voices. I've had this potato sack on my head for a week.
God, that's
yeah,
crazy.
man, it's crazy.
No, but I want to say shout out to Hands Off NYC.
Yeah.
Because follow them on Instagram. I think that's also the website. They've been doing trainings. They've been training thousands of New Yorkers of how to deal with ICE, how to disrupt without getting yourself hurt or arrested, but also to document. So shout out to them. Check them out. Follow them. Take one of those classes. My wife, again, like I don't always like to give her credit to her face, because then she won't shut up, right? But I'd rather tell you about it. Like she bought us all whistles.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that
Everybody
you
should
could
have one.
alert, you could alert some, that, and also the NYIC, the New York Immigrant Coalition, I think it is.
Yeah.
They're very important on Instagram. They put a lot of information about what we can do as a community to combat ICE. And again, like you said, this is we have no choice here.
Yeah,
right.
We don't.
It's either we submit, you know what I mean, or we push forward. And I think that's the only choice we had. I think it's important as Mamdani comes into
Exactly.
To really come together, to really look out for one another, to not be hateful, right? Even with with again, like we need to really be very thoughtful
Yes.
and how we move forward
Yes.
and have solidarity. Don't shit on each other, like don't shit on Muslims, don't shit on gay people, don't shit on nobody, because
what's
we
the
need
point?
all of us, we need each other, and again, we need to move forward, because the people committing all the grift and the crime and taking us back decades, they don't take a moment off.
Yeah.
So neither can we.
A house divided cannot stand, right? That's the truth. People think it's a cliche, but it's the truth. A house divided cannot stand. And as we see, there are more of us that are standing together, the more powerful we are. And we made our voices clear and our choices clear when this city voted for Mayor Mamdani, because he has explained to us that his vision is to fight ICE and to protect us from this incursion. And so that's a great first step. Now we need to take the following however many hundreds or thousands of steps we have to take to protect our city. But like you said, use a whistle. Don't try not to get involved, physically. Don't do anything violent. That's only going to make the matter worse. And that's what the administration wants to happen. They're going to they're going to provoke us. They're going to provoke us, and they're going to provoke us, and they're going to make us mad, and they're going to get us angry. And we need to take a moment. We need to say, chill. We need to be like, okay, yeah, this is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. We need to go on social media. We need to be in real life. We need to be challenging our politicians and telling them like, hey, this is what I saw. This is where that's happening. You need to protect us.
And I agree with you 100,000%. I think we do need to be careful, remain lawful, and remain nonviolent. Right. So I'm gonna say I'm 100% nonviolent. Right. I want to say that first before my next statement. Right. Right. That I believe in that to the core. Right. That you don't want to challenge the states with violence because they have overwhelming violence, right? And they will use that violence, our violence, as a subtext to undermine us and oppress us further. With that said, I also think that, first of all, the people that work for ICE are goons, right?
Yeah.
They are not smart. They are not trained.
They're not trained.
And they just put and they're very hateful. I think it's a good mixture of January Sixers, Proud Boys, just good old bubbas, and these people that are just hateful people, right? I think that soon, right, you will see where they go at the wrong one, right? Where they come because they're masked, right? Because they're not following protocol. Because they're coming up on you on some wild operations, they're making it very likely that someone, either out of anger or fear or both, fights back.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we're very close to some type of ICE agent either being killed or several of them are being injured because their tactics are incendiary, racist, and they make matters worse.
And not just not just that,
Yeah.
because yes to everything you said. They are racist. Yes, they are incendiary. Yes, they're not trained. But guess what? Other people, other criminal organizations are using those tactics. They're dressing up to look like ICE agents, and they're going after people who they want to hurt. And so it's really hard now.
They're raping women, yeah.
It's really
They're
hard.
assaulting women, yeah.
It's hard to tell whether or not you're actually being accosted by ICE or a gang, right? So, I think you're right. I think for your own safety, like, just run if you can, if you're being attacked by folks. But you're right, they're gonna go after the wrong one, and it's gonna get ugly, and that's what the government is waiting for, unfortunately. So this administration here in New York City that's coming on board, Mayor Mamdani, I'm so thankful for all the promises that he has made, and I'm so excited that he's going to be in charge and he's going to be able to try to protect us as best he can, because in other places it's just not happening. But I do commend places like Chicago and Los Angeles, where we see those local jurisdictions, those mayors really standing up, and in Chicago and in Illinois we've seen the mayor and the governor standing together, and in California too, Los Angeles, and in Sacramento, and in with Governor Newsom, we've seen that it's not just the big cities, it's also the states. I hope that in this state we have Mayor Mamdani and our Governor Hochul, who, she's been tiptoeing that tightrope for a little while. She did come to, Jesus, I suppose is what you would call it, and accept the fact that Mayor Mamdani is a political force and endorsed him. But I don't like it that she doesn't seem to be as vocal as I'd like her to be when it comes to protecting the people of the state of New York against the Trump administration regime, which is actively fighting to hurt her folks, her constituents.
I agree. She needs to get it. She needs to get it together. And now I just want to correct you. It's not coming to Jesus. It's coming to Allah now. Because
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that correction.
Please get it correct. You know what I mean?
I also wanted to correct myself on something that I said earlier. I said that I had gotten my dual citizenship in 2016. All the years are just melding together. Mexico changed its law in 1998, and so that must have been when I did it, because I did it at a time right when it happened, or just soon after. So it wasn't 2016. It was closer to 1998. But that being the case, I am a dual citizenship, and it happened, But
yeah, and I want to say too, like, I know we almost over, but I want to say we need to lock arms and close ranks. And what I mean by that is, right, I know you saw this week where Trump referred to Somalis
oh God,
as garbage.
Yes.
And he went on an extended rant talking about how Somalis are garbage, right? And that's just such a disgusting way to describe a whole group of people. But I will say this, right? And so lock arms mean we're going to lock arms together in solidarity with each other. But what I mean by close ranks is there were some Somalis, just like how we have some Latinos, who were like, Trump is the answer, right? He's the answer, right? And now those people are there looking stupid, right? Because they supported their own oppression.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, close ranks. Like, I'm sorry to all those Latinos, to all those other people. You will always have a space on this side, yes. But this needs to change now. You need to make that move now. You need to not be one of the ones that's like gloating over what's happening. And there's going to have to be some real like atonement. You know what I mean? Like, you let us here.
Yeah.
Right? We don't trust your judgment. Like, on social media, people telling me, oh, Mom Donnie, you voted for Trump. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Why would I listen to you?
Let me say something. Let me say something about that, about people having conversations, whether it's online, in real life, at the Christmas dinner, at the New Year's party. Here's the thing. I'm a mediator, right? I am certified in the state of New York as a mediator. So communication is really important to me. But part of mediation is both parties need to have the idea that they're going to try to resolve the issue in an amicable way. So I cannot, and I will not, and I refuse to enter into communication and have a debate with somebody who is pro MAGA and pro this regime, because I will not speak to somebody and expect them to speak with me in a way that we can find a resolution if their point is my destruction, right? If your whole point is to eliminate me from this country, if your whole point is to get rid of me and my people from this nation where we are citizens and we are trying to be citizens and we are working and we're making this country better, if your point is to get us to be done and to eliminate us, I'm not going to spend my time talking to you. So like you say, Led, to the Latinos who are pro-MAGA, if you come to your senses and you come back and say, you know what, I saw the error of my ways, fine. I'm open to hearing about whatever you want to talk about. But if you're going to come back to me with, well, this and that and the other is why you're still a MAGA supporter, we're done.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'm not there for that.
I agree. Sometimes I engage just to, for shits and giggles, you know what I mean? But most times it's like, what's wrong with you? And it's funny because most of the people have the Bible verses in their bios, Jesus first. And you're like, what? Like, what Jesus is that hates people or fuck everybody? Like, it's really gross. And again, and this is not to take away blame from white people and their bullshit with MAGA. That's not what I'm saying. But again, I think I said it before, like, it makes sense, right? If someone's telling you those people are hurting you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it's an easier sell, right? As my group is being hurt by this group, right? But when you're part of the group that is being told the problem, and you think and you side with that, that's even worse, right? It's way worse when you sell out your own. Like, you're doing this to us, and that's what I find so gross.
I can't really argue with that. The only point that I would make as well, in agreement with what you're saying, is that those people, the white people who are MAGA, those people, the Latino people who are MAGA, those people, the Somali people who are MAGA, all those people probably are lacking in education or are educated and are using it for their own advantage individually rather than their advantage for their community. And I am disheartened at the fact that in this country right now, we're not supporting our educational system the way we really should be, that we're taking away funding from our schools, that we're not giving our youth the tools that they need to make good decisions and to really understand the history from where we came from. And all that stuff is unfortunately one of the main reasons why the opportunity presented itself to essentially brainwash people into believing that others are here to take away from them, which they are not. The only ones who are here to take away from Americans and immigrants in this country at this point is the administration, a kleptocracy that is looking to steal from all of us so that they can be richer and everybody else who's not a billionaire and a gazillionaire already can be poorer. So I
Yeah.
just unfortunately that's the state of affairs. But fortunately, as we have said in I think every episode that we've ever done, community is the answer. Sticking together is the answer. I do agree with you that locking arms and closing ranks, keeping those folks who may be part of our cohorts but don't agree with what we're saying and are not going to seemingly come to the rala, we're gonna have to really, exclude you from what we're doing, and
Yup,
and
yup,
you're
yup,
done.
yup.
You know.
Yeah, like I'm at the point right now where you're either on you have to be on the right side of history. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? You either with the tyrant or you with the people. And if you with the tyrant, I don't really want I don't want to be bothered anymore. Like I'm done. And I think it just we need to that's what I mean by close. Yeah, we got to lock arms, yes, but we have to close ranks. Just because you're a person of color or this, you're not gonna get that automatic because if you're working for the other side, right? Like we need to be really clear about who our enemies are. And yes, some of our enemies are our own. And that's how it needs to be dealt with. And I broke down MAGA into 3 components: racist, rich folks, and rubes. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it makes sense. If you're a racist, this makes sense.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is my guy.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're rich, this also makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's one of you. You're the same class.
Yep.
Right? But it's the rubes. The rubes are more numerous. The rubes are easily fooled. The rubes are not, and again, it's not about education. I don't have a college degree, right? I'm not talking about degrees. I'm talking about intelligence, right? And just being aware and being a reader. Like these are the rubes, but the rubes are the majority, right? And MAGA used to be a cult for stupid white people. It has now crossed over, and now it's even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because this information is everywhere, and our enemies live in our buildings.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Our enemies are our relatives.
So I want to
just
I want to make this point also before we wrap it up. I just want to say this. What I said, right? If you're for MAGA and you want to talk to me about why MAGA is great and why I should change my mind, I'm not going to change my mind. And if you're for MAGA and you're not going to ever change your mind, then we're just not going to talk. On the other hand, if you're like rational, and let's say we're talking about housing, right? Which is a huge issue in New York City and in Washington Heights. Let's say that you have policy ideas that maybe I don't agree with, but I haven't thought of in the past, or maybe I'm not even aware of your policy ideas. I'm willing to have that conversation. I'm willing to hear you out if you're bringing interesting and non interesting ideas to the fore. But so I'm not excluding like all conversation with people who maybe I don't agree with, because some policies need to be discussed, some policies need to be debated, and some ideas, nobody has the final word on every idea. Sometimes it takes a little bit of giving a little bit and taking a little bit. I think that's what this country was actually founded on. You know, we need to give some and take some. It's not everybody has the answer. We can't please everybody all the time. I said, if you're fighting to eliminate me, then we're not talking. But if you have policy ideas that I may not understand or that I may not believe in, and I'm willing to have that conversation, but not about, eliminating me as a human being.
Facts. On that note, This is the end of the episode. Make sure you subscribe. Spread love is the Uptown way. You heard?
Yep.
Let's go.
Righty.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of Uptown Voices, brought to you by 181 Cabrini, your neighborhood bistro just steps away from the North Walk of the George Washington Bridge. Use the code Uptown Voices Season 1 for your discount. And to stay up to date on the latest in Uptown, you can follow Uptown Collective on Instagram, Facebook, and X. If you're watching Uptown Voices on YouTube, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and to give us a like. And don't forget, we also need financial contributions from listeners like you to produce, improve, and expand our content. To contribute, please scan the QR code on the screen. Until next time, this has been Uptown Voices.